Today I'll be talking on the mixed virtual reality, a new way of thinking spine deformity, which will be helpful both for the surgeons as well as for the patients. This software and the technologies available in my institution for the last couple of months, and I'll be elaborating my initial experience of how I utilize this technology to everyone. So, in the reality virtuality continuum, there are three words that are usually spoken. One is augmented reality, where for example, if you're moving in a real world, the you will be you hold your mobile and it will show the exactly where exactly you're going, which street, which building, name of the building, all can be displayed. The next, on the other spectrum, we have the virtual reality, where the immersive virtual environment shuts out the real environment. And what I'm showing is the mixed reality. In this, the virtual and real environment mix and interact with each other to give a three-dimensional picturization to the viewer, which will have a greater impact, especially in a surgical field, which I'll be showing. So, as a spine surgeons, we always wanted something to be seen in 3D images so that we will do our surgery much more better, and also explain same thing to the family as well to the student. So, when the CT came up with a two-dimensional pixelization, we were very happy, but not good enough, and we started doing it 3D within the CT software or MR software, but it was not giving the real picturization where you can move in whichever the way you want. You get into the structure and see the different structure like pedicle, the cord, orientation, the nerve root with respect to the spine. And then we started using these sawbone models or wax models or plastic models to depict our different surgical acumen, as well as to teach somebody what exactly to be done. I remember I'm giving one talk only on these models and how it can be utilized in spine surgery. But that also did not satisfy us. Then now the new things which is available with mixed reality, where you can use the 3D picturization, which can be rotated in whichever way you want, and rather you can enter into the spine model to see the actual relation between the spinal cord, nerve, foramen, pedicle using this technology. So, which I will be elaborating further. So, how do I really use this technology? I'm using mainly now for the patient education, where I can explain them what is a deformity, why surgery is required, and how do we plan to make the surgery more safer, and what all things we go through as a surgeon before entering into the surgical theater, that which will help the patient outcome fantastic, which improved significantly counseling as well as consenting to me. And it also helped me in fellowship training in the same way. And the pre-op planning, even as a surgeon like me, especially when I do the CV junction or a complex kyphosis or a scoliosis. And now today I use this the virtual reality one, where I can understand where I have to do osteotomy, where I have to instrument, where I need not instrument, measure the pedicle size, orientation of the pedicle size, and I can have a kind of a surgical rehearsal using this model. So I'll give you the case example how you utilized it. The prerequisite for and the workflow for all this is, we require volumetric data of any of the images, CT, MR, or a PET scan, which has to be 1 mm thick slice you have to do with or without contrast. And sometimes you can use angiography also to depict what exactly you want to do in that structure. And we load this in what is called as the element viewer, which is available with a BrainLab technology. And we put it through the PAC system. It come to this element viewer in the computer, and which can be next. We fuse the MR and the CT images. Sometimes you will fuse the PET scan into this, and then use the goggle called as a Magic Leap 2 device. Using the Wi-Fi, it connects to the computer, that is the element viewer, and using the QR scanner through the goggle itself, you can start projecting your 3D model onto the plain wall, which can be viewed by another person who is wearing similar kind of a goggle. And you can enter into the model to see the inner structures. And I will show you how it can be done. Here is one example. This is the 11-year-old girl whom I operated just 2 days ago with a significant type 3 Lenky scoliosis, and the family was highly educated, single child. They were going from pillar to post because they thought that she will have a significant problem. However, in the last 6 months, which I had seen, her the scoliosis worsened further about 8 to 10 degrees, and I had to tell them, what exactly we do, and I had to convince them, win them to have a surgery for the poor child. So in that way, I use this virtual reality to make sure they're very comfortable in the with our surgical skill. So here, what I did is, we built using the CT. You can see first there was a skin, and I removed the skin, and using the laser pointer, I can move the three-dimensional part of the viewer. You can see the father next to me. He was also wearing the goggle. I showed him getting into the 3D model, and I showed him how the vertebrae is twisted in the lumbar region, how it is curved in the cervical, in the proximal thoracic region. And I also put the whole spine in the operative field, like a horizontal way of the model, and showed him how we put the screws. And he was very convinced. Once you enter into that, he could see the spinal cord entering into the spinal canal, because I merged the MR into this, and the nerves coming out. I told him we are not touching that, and we are putting the screws into the pedicle to rotate the spine. And believe it or not, both husband and wife saw this, and they gave consent with a smile, and I could do the surgery, yesterday, and patient is walking today. It greatly helped the patient to understand the safety and the technological use, and completely removed their anxiety, and consenting become very, very easy to me. And the same thing, I use the teaching tool to my fellows. Once again, as I told you, I put them in the operative position, the whole model, which can be enlarged to the size of the patient, or you can shrink it to nearly about just less than 1 feet. You can show the whole model. You can zoom it, zoom out, and look at in the three-dimensional picturization. And I showed them where I do the osteotomy, and how I'll do the connective maneuvers, where will be our upper end vertebrae, lower end vertebrae, and how we'll correct this whole thing. I showed them to understand. You can see one of my the residents wearing it and looking into the whole thing in three-dimensional way by himself to understand this. And I also gave them the same tool to rehearse themselves for the pedicle measurement and orientation. They themselves marked this whole thing, and also understood at the apex how the pedicle is oriented, and what should be their direction of putting the pedicle screw, especially in thoracic region. So the case number 2 is another patient of mine, 36-year-old, whom I operated 4 weeks ago, came all the way from US. She was quadriparetic, wheelchair bound, and had a bladder symptom already. And she was not at all convinced in US about this surgery, because they were scared that she will end up on ventilator. This was explained to her in US, and this same patient I recreated. You can see the skin there, and in the skin I removed the skin. You can see the skull as well as cervical region here, CV junction. And using the eraser, I erased the mandible to show them the exact CV junction where the C1, C1 is slipped in front of C2, occipitalization of the atlas, and I've erased even the mastad region to show them the connection between the brain and the spinal cord. Keep watching there. What you see inside is the brain. You can see the ventricle system there. And as I'm removing the bone, you can see the thinning of the cord secondary to the odontoid process. And that is where so much of thinning which is happening between the brainstem and the spinal cord. The yellow color which you are seeing is the thinning. Even I was surprised to really see three-dimensional picturization of the thin model. And when I showed this to the husband, believe it or not, he said the same thing was not explained in US. And he said this technology made him much more comfortable to understand why she might undergo, why she has to undergo surgery. What is the reason? And now, especially thinning of the cord, is the reason behind she is might end up on a ventilator. Luckily, our surgery went on very well. She was started physiotherapy and started walking within 1 week. See, once again, the thinning of the cord at the odontoid region. This is how it helped this, the VR technique helped me in this mixed reality, helped me in this patient. So the only disadvantage of this methodology is cost and accessibility. And also it requires volumetric imaging, which increases the timing of the MR and CT images. And it requires multiple imaging if you really want to explain CT, MR, PET. And when you use CT in children, it increases the radiation. It is slightly technician dependent, but one of the technician can be trained to do this. And also requires additional server and cloud connection to depict and store all these things also to use for Wi-Fi for the VR goggles. So the future, I presume that using the goggle itself, visualizing any structure in 3D way, I'm sure in a couple of years I might be speaking in one of the forums about how I did a deformity surgery using the VR technique or mixed reality, where I could see the pedicle three dimensionally, or I could do the intramedullary tumors where I can view even the anterior spinal cord remaining there without causing any problem to the patient. So, in conclusion, it helped the patient, it helps the surgeon, it helps in training, and the future is beautiful where we can do 3D surgical experience in this patient. So, in that way, we are with a newer technology, it is helping the surgeons as well as the patient. Let us embrace it, modify it, and utilize to our benefit. Thank you very much.